The Weeknd once had a problem, and that problem was named Drake. At first glance, that sounds strange. How could Drake, one of the biggest artists in the world, ever be a problem? Well, when The Weeknd was just starting his career, Drake took a special interest in him. Back then, The Weeknd wasn't the global icon we know today. He was a mystery. No photos, no interviews, just haunting songs uploaded online that made people stop and listen. For the first year of his career, no one even knew what he looked like, but his music was spreading fast across Toronto, and everyone was talking about this unknown voice. When word reached Drake, who was already the city's biggest star, he wanted in. Drake had a reputation, though. People said he signed artists only to make them his writers. That's why they called his label the OVO sweatshop. Still, Drake started showing love to The Weeknd. He played his songs on his radio show, gave him shout-outs, and praised him as Toronto's next big thing. Eventually, Drake arranged to meet him, and the two sat down to talk about working together. But when Drake offered The Weeknd a deal, the young artist surprised everyone by saying no. The Weeknd told him respectfully, "I appreciate you, bro, but I don't want to sign to another artist." It wasn't disrespect, it was wisdom. Because when you sign to another artist's label, that artist still has their own label above them. It means your music, your profits, even your spotlight all flow through someone else. You'll never be bigger than the person who owns your label. Drake said it was cool, no hard feelings, and invited The Weeknd to hang out, maybe come to one of his shows. The Weeknd agreed, and for a while, everything seemed friendly. But soon, Drake started showing up at The Weeknd's studio sessions. He'd listen to the music The Weeknd was making and instantly fall in love with it. One day, The Weeknd played a song called The Right Direction, and Drake said, "Let me get that one." Being a new artist, The Weeknd didn't want to make things awkward, so he said yes. Then came another song, Crew Love. Some of you might know it as a Drake song featuring The Weeknd, but in reality, it was The Weeknd's track first. Before long, several of The Weeknd's songs ended up on Drake's Take Care album, a project that became one of the biggest albums of Drake's career. To the public, it looked like Drake had discovered this new star and put him on, but behind the scenes, The Weeknd felt used. He later admitted that he gave away nearly half his debut album to help finish Take Care. Still, he didn't sign with OVO. Instead, he signed with Republic Records. That's when Drake started acting cold. He went online and posted, "You owe me a favor," hinting that The Weeknd's success came from him. The Weeknd finally spoke up in an interview saying everything fans had suspected, that Drake had taken his songs for Take Care. This hit Drake hard, especially because at the same time, rumors were already spreading that Drake used ghostwriters. The idea that he'd also borrowed from The Weeknd only added fuel to the fire. For a while, the two were distant, but like many industry relationships, they eventually patched things up, at least on the surface. Drake's the type to squash a feud just as fast as he starts one. Still, everyone knew their friendship was fragile, and things would soon get messy again, this time not over music, but over love. The Weeknd had started dating model Bella Hadid. They were young, famous, and seemed perfect together, but after a while, they broke up. It just wasn't working. Not long after, Drake was seen at the same club as Bella, and the two were spotted leaving together. The tabloids went crazy, saying Drake had gone after his old friend's ex. The Weeknd found out, and it wasn't just gossip, he was genuinely hurt. To make it worse, Drake began hosting parties for Bella and dropping lyrics that hinted at their connection. It looked like Drake was being petty on purpose. Eventually, The Weeknd moved on and began dating Selena Gomez. But when that ended and he got back together with Bella, Drake started throwing more subtle jabs in his music. Lyrics like, "Why are you back with her?" and "I know her pretty well." The Weeknd fired back in his own way, writing songs that seemed to call Drake out. It became a cycle. Sneak disses, tension, fake peace, and then the same thing again. Every time Drake would eventually reach out, say something like, "Why are we fighting, bro?" and they'd make up again. But deep down, both knew the rivalry was real. Then came the moment that reignited everything. Drake had been feuding with Kendrick Lamar for years, but now word got out that Kendrick, The Weeknd, and a few others were linking up like the Avengers to create a massive diss track aimed at Drake. That's when Drake realized his two biggest rivals might be joining forces, and that's where things started getting dangerous. Reports said people from both sides were showing up at each other's houses. Drake's team, The Weeknd's team. Things were getting tense in Toronto. At the heart of it all was pride. Drake believed The Weeknd and Kendrick owed him their careers, but both of them had grown too big to ever bow down. The Weeknd especially had transformed from a mysterious underground artist into a global icon. When he dropped The Hills, it became a worldwide hit, and it started competing directly with Drake's Hotline Bling on the Billboard charts. The crazy part? Drake had never had a #1 single before, but The Hills kept blocking him week after week. It drove him crazy. Drake started saying things like, "I made you," throwing shade at The Weeknd in interviews and songs. The Weeknd didn't hold back. He said, "Who made who? I gave Drake half of Take Care." That line hit hard. The student had become the teacher. Still, time went on. They'd occasionally be seen speaking, sometimes even friendly again, but the truth never changed. There was always competition. Both of them wanted to be Toronto's #1, and neither would back down. Over the years, they've both shaped modern music. Drake dominating rap and pop, The Weeknd redefining R&B and dark pop. They came from the same city, started in the same scene, and at one point helped build each other's success. But behind all the hits, all the fame, and all the awards lies a story of ego, betrayal, and pride. Two Toronto legends, both convinced they made the other. And in a strange way, maybe they both did.